Hello again, Josh Carr here, back again with a question from the mailbag. So a viewer emails in and says, "Hey, hope this message finds you well. I was going through your videos. I was wondering if you could provide some guidance on the amortization schedule formula. The formula being used is for the US, and I'm a Canadian, basically." And I say basically because the Canadians do something very interesting with a lot of their mortgages. I see a lot of their commercial real estate debt where they'll do semi-annual compounding with monthly payments. Now, this is odd, and let me show you how it's calculated. Let's first start with a simple conversation. Let's say you borrow $100,000 over 30 years, which is 360 months, and you pay me monthly, and it's paid off in full at the end of 30 years. The payment function would normally look like this. You'd be like, well, take D32, that's the annual interest rate, divide by 12 to get the monthly rate. And if you know the monthly rate and you have the number of months, which is 360, and you know it's $100,000 and you know it's paid off in full, the PMT function would say that you have to pay $599.55. Okay, so far so good. And if you ran the thing at $599.55 and you ran it all the way to the end to month 360, it would be paid off in full. Okay, so far so good. Now let's say you did semi-annual payments. That is to say, you paid twice a year. If you paid twice a year, instead of it being 6% divided by 12, being the monthly rate, and 30 times 12, which is 360, being the number of months, we end up with 60 periods. Because if there's 2 periods per year, it's 60 periods. In other words, take the annual rate, divide by 2, take the number of half years, take $100,000, it's paid off in full, and you get $3,600 every 6 months, or that divided by 6, 602 per year. So far, so good. If it's a monthly payment, it's $599 a month. If it's a semi-annual payment, it's $3,600 every 6 months, which works out to, in this case, 602 per month, averaged out over 6-month blocks of time. So far, so good. But here's where it gets weird. What you sometimes see in Canada, and I don't know why, and if there are any Canadians who want to chime in and explain it, I'd love to see it in the comments. What I typically see up there is semi-annual compounding with monthly payments. So you calculate the interest as if it were kicking in every 6 months, but instead of making payments every 6 months, you make monthly payments. So again, this is weird. It's a disconnect between how often you do compounding and how often you make payments. So how do we do semi-annual compounding with monthly payments? This is what we do. First, 6% per year is 6.09 per year if there's semi-annual compounding. This is 1 plus 6% divided by 2 to the second power minus 1. In other words, 6% per year effectively is an interest rate of 6.09 if we do 2 payments per year instead of 1. Then, if we know what the effective rate is, the monthly rate that gives us the same effective rate is, once we know the effective rate of 6.09, which is again 2 payments per year, we then have to figure out what monthly rate is equivalent to 6.09 per year. Or to put it another way, 1 plus 609 to the 112th power is the monthly rate that is the same as semi-annual on 6%. In other words, both of them are calculating to an effective rate of 6.09. Then what we do is we say, well, if this monthly rate gives us the same, is effectively the same as 6.09, which is the same as the semi-annual compounding, we basically say, well, we could do this one of two ways. We could either do it longhand, which is incredibly annoying, or my preferred choice would be to do the shorthand way, that is to say, to use the same PMT function, but to say, if that's my monthly rate, and that's the number of months, and that's the amount of money we're borrowing, and that's the future value, there it is. So, in short, $594.82 is the payment we will pay monthly, which will give us effectively the same result as if we were compounding twice per year. So again, step one, figure out the semi-annual effective rate. Step two, convert that to what that would look like if it were a monthly rate. Step three, use the monthly rate, which is the same as the semi-annual effective rate, to drive the formula, and then either do it shorthand with a PMT function or do it longhand. Frankly, I don't know why you do it longhand. You could just always do it shorthand, but both get to the same place. Anyway, short answer for a short question. If this kind of stuff fills you with joy, please check out my website at carrealestate.com. Or if you're interested in courses about this sort of material, I have a bunch of courses that cover everything in much greater and slower detail at courses.carrealestate.com. Or finally, if you have any questions or comments, drop me a line to josh@carrealestate.com. And, if your question is good, it gets turned into a video. Excellent. Thanks again. And until I see you again, keep building better models.